Jessica, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good.
So, congratulations for first and foremost on winning the bronze in Guangzhou at the IGF Masters just recently, 5 days ago. How does it feel?
Yeah. Thank you. It feels good. Yeah. It's a good feeling. It's the last competition of the year, so it's nice to finish strong.
It's interesting. You've had quite the year. Wouldn't you say 2018 has been quite the year for you? In 3 words, how would you describe 2018?
Uh, in 3 words.
Or in four? As many as or as little as you want.
Better than any other, I guess.
And what would you attribute to this success? Obviously, in November, you got gold at the Osaka Grand Slam, which was a outstanding performance. What would you attribute to 2018 to, as far as what is it in your training or your approach to fighting that has turned on?
Well, I started the year actually with a month off due to an injury, so I already felt, behind, than where I wanted to be for the start of the year. So every month I just kind of like made sure I was advancing my judo and really, really getting better. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think taking time off allowed me to like sit back and see what I needed, and then once I came back, I really made sure that every competition I was progressing, that every fight was better than the last. So I really saw like a big jump in the quality of judo that I was doing from the beginning of the year until now.
Hmm. And when you say like improving and your judo, what particular aspect of your game have you been zoning in on or focusing on?
So I've worked a lot on trying to become more of like more complete judoka. Like I used to just sort of focus on maybe one or two directions, but now I'm trying to focus on all directions, using more foot sweeps to like additional attacks, and uh, yeah, it's kind of opened up some more like opportunities during the fight for me.
So let's jump right into some of your matches. In China, you fought Israel's Levy, and you beat her. You had two successful Uchigaris. Speak to
Yeah.
us about that match from what you recall.
Um, so going into masters in general, it was a little bit tough just because I've already been in Japan at that point for already a month. But so I felt a little bit tired, but I knew for that day, like I would have to be pretty sharp. So I know the girl. We've done a couple of fights in competition before, and I knew I could like come away with the win. So it just kind of like I just knew I was going to win that fight. So I don't know. It just went well, I guess.
And then moving on from that match, you fought a Mongolian,
Yeah.
and you had a massive, ippon there. I don't know if you watched the replay. I mean, you were there in full effect, so you were in the moment. But the video, the clip is outstanding. The crowd just roared and erupted. Can you lead us through that moment?
So we've actually fought two times already before. One time in the World Championships where we went into like a long golden score, and I made like a huge mistake and she choked me. And then the last time I fought her was a few weeks earlier in Osaka, and this time it went into golden score, but I ended up winning by penalties. So it was kind of like a weird thought going right in before the fight. I just kind of had the goal like, oh, this time it would be cool if I threw her. And yeah, I don't. She's really difficult to throw, so it's kind of like I shocked myself. But um, the throw that I did, I practice all the time. So it was nice to see it like be so effective against like a high level player.
Can you explain the throw in terms of its technicality and so on?
For me, it's all about like how quick I enter the throw, I guess, and like the timing. I kind of have to play with the balance, and that's where it comes in. I've been working a lot with like foot sweeps, so I'm trying to make them, unsure of whether I'm gonna like go backwards or forwards. So I played with that a little bit for a few moments before I entered the throw, and yeah, it's all just about really just how fast you enter and then being able to like drive and finish it.
Were you surprised on the execution? Were you?
Um, um, yes and no. Like I was more like excited about it because
Hmm.
I mean I've thrown lots of girls like that. I was just maybe a little bit surprised to throw her since every time before that we fought, it's been an 8 minute match of it's coming down to penalties. So to throw her in the first 20 to 30 seconds, I was really happy about that.
Yeah, and I think the fans certainly were. As I mentioned, they erupted in awe. I think fans love seeing, massive throws like that. So from there, you went on to fight Jakova, I believe her name is,
Yes.
from
Yes.
Kosovo. Speak to us about that match. Particularly, I think she countered you with a foot sweep after she was going in
Yeah.
for Uchimata, and I think you were trying to, yeah, just lead us through that, please.
Uh, so I would say she's probably one of like the stronger girls of the category. So I haven't fought her in a while, so I maybe could have went into the fight with a little bit of a better sort of prep on what to do and how to kind of like execute the fight. After the first 2 minutes, I realized, okay, this is going to be a little tough to throw her to kind of get around like her strength. So yeah, it just kind of like I felt it slipping away from me like throughout the match, and like I felt like I wasn't being like as effective.
Hmm.
I don't know if I did feel physically tired, which is something that I'm usually not in a match, but maybe that could have been like from the accumulation of like how long I was there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, if I was going to do the fight over, like after seeing how that fight went, it would have went much differently. I just wasn't really able to like reassess during the fight on like how I should like approach like each exchange differently. I kind of just, kept doing the same thing, and like in the end, I think what she countered me with, it was not a surprise because I was going for that foot sweep almost like the whole match. So
Hmm.
yeah.
So, and from there, you went on to fight Brazil's Rafaela Silva, and she got, she got Hansaku Makade, and just
Yeah.
lead us through that match.
So I wasn't so happy about losing my semifinals. So I knew like going into my bronze, I really wanted to make sure I was like awake and ready, and that, before I came to Asia, the biggest goal was to get onto the podium at Masters. So I just kind of reminded myself of that. And me and her, we've fought, I think this might be the sixth time that we fought. So we know each other really well. The last time we fought was at the Grand Prix in Cancun, and she totally changed her game, and she countered me a couple times, and I ended up losing. So this time I just did like maybe a slightly different approach. I made her kind of guess a little bit with some of my foot sweeps, but I mean, she's really static and she doesn't do much. So because of like my capacity to like use my cardio a lot, I was just like able to like enter so many throws and like really not be tired. So it wasn't a very difficult fight for me. It was really just about strategy. I knew she wasn't going to attack, and I knew like I could just like keep entering my throws, and yeah.
Well, congratulations on that. You've definitely had quite the year, and in January of 2019, of course, we're going to be having the Elite Nationals in Montreal at La Torrue. Can you speak to us about this event and its significance as far as judo in Canada?
Yeah, so it's been around for maybe like 4 or 5 years now, and I think it's really important for like Judo Canada as a sport and as a community to kind of be able to showcase the highest level of athletes that we have within Canada, and it kind of gives the younger generation something to like look up to, something to look forward to, something to hope that they can be a part of one day. And yeah, I think it's like a really cool competition, and we don't usually get to, the really higher level athletes in Canada don't really get to fight with, the up and coming ones. So it's a good opportunity for the up and comers and for also like the higher level ones to kind of like be able to, fight each other in a competition setting.
Sure. Especially on Canadian soil, and for fans, for combat sports fans to witness this, in person at La Tohu or live on Judo Canada TV. I agree. It's certainly very important. Now, speak to us as to what motivates you to compete in the sport of judo.
What motivates me to compete? I don't know. It's just something I took to from a very young age, and it's something that like I love to do every day. I'm able to constantly like progress what I'm doing, and whether it's like weight training and cardio or with my judo, I can constantly add things and better myself. So it's really nice to like after every week of a year to feel like I've finished it better than I started, and it's really nice to like I really feel like with judo the hard work that you put in, like it will pay off, and that's probably like what really keeps me motivated.
That's very interesting. Now, I want to ask you about a fellow competitor who also is a Canadian judoka in your division. I think in Zagreb, you both fought for in the final. I'm talking about Krista Deguchi. Speak to us about is it fair to call it a rivalry?
I guess it's fair. I mean, there's only gonna be one spot for Tokyo 2020, and the best one of us is the one that will be going. But in the end, it like really pushed me to, advance my judo and advance myself as an athlete. And that's kind of like where I think it's like a good thing.
Right. No, I completely see that. I think the more talent you have in a certain division, and there's that healthy rivalry, everyone improves, right? And this is how you build that capacity for higher development of in any sport, quite frankly. Now, about judo in this great country, what's the state and culture of judo in Canada, in your opinion? And I've been asking everyone that question.
The state, say this again?
Yeah, like, what's your opinion on judo culture in Canada? Like you travel the world, you compete all over, and you're exposed to various different markets as far as combat sports, particularly judo. So,
well, I think for like compared to some other countries that that do judo, they either get like maybe a high pay or a high salary, or it's something that helps them, like eventually they get a job, whether it's connected with policing or the army.
Sure.
So it really kind of like sets up their future, and it's a big opportunity for them, and that's a main motivator for like why they're doing the sport. Mm-hmm. For Canadians, like it's obvious that we have like a great like schooling system, and that's really like the path that like everyone goes. It's so for like me to be doing judo at this point in my life, it's because I'm truly passionate about it. It's not because I have like a motivator of money or for school or for job. It's just because this is what I love to do. Mm-hmm. So I find like everyone who's on the team they're doing it really because they love it, and not because they have like an external motivator.
Right.
because they're really, really passionate about it.
So they're intrinsically motivated.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, Jessica, thank you very much for your time. We look forward to seeing you compete at the Elite Nationals 2019. And I believe you're also going to the Grand Slam in Paris, no?
Yeah, I am.
Cool. Well, all the best to you in all your competitions, and thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thanks so much.